Hi guys, it's Angela with Indie Styles Boutique. Welcome to our channel. If you are new, welcome. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for rocking with us. We love you. Thank you for every video that you watch. Thank you for every like. Thank you for every share. We really appreciate it. Having said that, if you haven't subscribed and you do like what we do, please consider subscribing. If you like the video, please hit the like button. If you know of someone that would benefit from what we do here, please share it. We appreciate it. So tonight's video is going to be on how to take a stainless steel tumbler to a beautiful tumbler, a beautiful work of art done by yours truly, but not so much as doing the work. It's actually what you need to get to that point, what you need to get started in the work. So this video is going to be about things as I've grown in my journey in making tumblers, things that I consider must-haves, nice-to-haves, and get it if you can. Meaning if you have the money, if it's in your budget, go ahead and get that. So having said that, the first thing we're going to talk about is safety. Safety is a must-have. It's non-negotiable. You can't squander your health or do things dangerously for the sake of saying you're crafting. So the first thing you're going to need, most important, is a mask. You're working with chemicals and things like that. This is an N95 mask. I prefer these. I do have some med grade N95 masks that I use for my other job, but I do like to have N95s. Also, if you can afford it, this is a nice to have mask, the one that covers your nose, your mouth, your eyes, you know, that covers all of that, and it helps to protect your lungs as well. So if you can afford that one is a get it while you get it if you can category, but a regular mask is a must. Another thing you're going to need is gloves. I don't have any gloves. I'm out. That's why I'm not working on my tumblers tonight, but I like the nitro gloves. I prefer the black ones, but get you some gloves so that when you're touching the epoxy, it's not getting on your hand or your skin. Now, don't get me wrong, there's going to be some times where you're going to get it on your skin or your hand or whatever, but if you're protecting yourself with the gloves, that's minimal and it doesn't happen a lot. If that does happen, just take your, what I do is I spray my hands with 97% isopropyl alcohol. I rub it all over, then I go rinse off, then I'll use some Dawn dishwashing detergent to clean the rest of it off. Now, let me tell you, the things that I'm going to show you in here and some of the things I talk about, I'm not paid to endorse. These are just things that have worked for me. Nobody's paying me to say go buy this or that. This is just what I have found that makes this job easier, this particular craft easier. So gloves, when you're buying your gloves, make sure you get the right size. If they're too small, with all the work you're going to be doing with those tumblers, you're going to take that tumbler and you're going to move back and forth, and you're going to continue to do that. If it's too small, it's going to hurt. It's going to tighten up. If it's too large, you're going to end up with epoxy flying here and there, going everywhere, because as you're moving it back and forth, it's going the whole length of that glove, and that motion that you're doing, it's going to cause the epoxy to fly here, there, everywhere. Another thing that's a must-have is epoxy clothing. Yeah. You want to make sure that you have clothing that's specifically for epoxy, or get you an apron, a cape, chef's jacket, something that's going to protect your clothes, because when you're first starting out, you're going to have epoxy everywhere. You're going to have to train yourself and teach yourself, okay, this is epoxy on my hand, don't touch my sleeve, or don't rub my chest, or don't, do certain things that you may normally do if you're crafting and you get something on your hands. So let me just wipe it off, because you can put it in the washing machine and get it out. Epoxy is not one of those things. So make sure you have clothing, or you're wearing clothing that you really don't care anything about when you're epoxying. Now, I know you see people on YouTube that's dressed to the nines and hilt, you know, and they're doing all the epoxy stuff. Those people are seasoned. When I started out, that wasn't me. I'm just getting to where I can do a video in clothes that matter and epoxy a tumbler. So don't be deceived. Another thing that you're going to need, it's a must-have, is popsicle sticks or craft sticks. I keep calling them popsicle sticks, but they're, let's see, craft sticks. You're going to need these. You'll need these to stir your epoxy, to mix your epoxy. When I say stir, I don't mean stir. I mean to fold the epoxy over. As I have been researching epoxy and methods and different brands, I have learned that it's best to fold the epoxy in to cut down on the bubbles. Now, when you're working with epoxy and you pour it into the cup, your bubbles are it's gonna happen. You're gonna have bubbles, and there are ways you can get the bubbles out, but I'm just saying you're going to have them. So the way you mix it is going to matter. It matters. The way you mix it matters. The other thing you're going to need that are must-haves is silicone. You're going to need some silicone items. This is a silicone cup. This is a silicone stir stick. This is a silicone makeup brush. I got this from the dollar store. Don't remember where I got this. And this came as a part of my epoxy mixer from Hobby Lobby. So that's where these came from. But you can get these online, Amazon. You can, if you go to a craft store, they're going to have some things that you can pick up that are silicone. The reason you want silicone in your life when you're epoxying and you're working with tumblers and so on and so forth is because they're easy to clean. I can get epoxy all over here, all in here, but I just take some alcohol, squirt it down, let it sit, take a paper towel, clean it out, then I can wash it. Same thing with this. I can just squirt it down, alcohol, let it sit, the alcohol breaks it down. You can also use acetone. I have a big container of acetone, and it is a must-have because when you need to clean up your surface area, acetone, or if you have a cup that you need to start over with to break it down and remove whatever, let's say the tumbler has gone wrong or gone awry, you can clean it. You can break that down with acetone, paper towels, and aluminum foil. And, you know, you can start over from that point. Another item that is a must-have is sandpaper. I don't know the grit of sandpaper. All I know is I have sandpaper and I use it a lot. I have the sandpaper. I have these sanding blocks. Now, this sanding block, you can use this wet. This sandpaper, you can't. You use this as it is. This I can wet it and sand it down, and it helps me to control. I prefer these because it helps me to control where the debris goes. Where with this one, you're sanding and you want to sand away from your area. Even with this, I still try to sand away from my area where I'm working because that debris and stuff, it flies into the atmosphere and it could land on your cups. So you need some sanding paper or a sanding block to smooth out your surface or your cups and things like that. Get rid of excess epoxy. Maybe it didn't level out correctly, and that's why you would need this. So this goes in the must-have category. Now, let me see. Must-haves. All right, so I'm gonna go, the other thing that's a must-have, lotion. You're gonna be working with a lot of chemicals. You're gonna wash your hands a lot when you're doing this stuff. So lotion for your hands is gonna be key. So your hands will feel nice, feel good, and you wanna keep them moisturized. Another thing is parchment paper. Now, what I use parchment paper for is to secure my area, to cover my space where I'm working, to catch any excess epoxy or any excess glitter that I am working with. So that's, to me, it's a must-have. so you're going to need something to cover your surface area. And for me, it's parchment paper. That's what I use. I use parchment paper for other crafts. So I just bring it over into this little realm, and then I don't have to buy anything extra. But you can purchase silicone mats. The parchment paper is disposable. When I'm done with it, I toss it. A silicone mat you can put on your table. It catches the epoxy, and like all silicone, you can spray it down with your alcohol and you can just wipe it up. My problem with using just a silicone mat is if I'm using glitter and I try to catch it on that silicone mat, it takes me longer, more elbow grease. It takes me a little while longer to clean that space. So yeah, so that is a required item. I also have an aluminum pan that I use to tape my parchment paper down, but you don't need an aluminum pan. That's just something it's a nice to have for me. Another thing that's a must have is epoxy. You're gonna need some epoxy. So right now I'm using this Aluminite Amazing Clear Cast Plus. So a lot of people give this a hard time because of the harmfulness, and it has the warnings on it and everything. I'm using this because this is what I had. This was what was close to me. This is what was near. So I'm using it. I purchased this one because it is, it's on the box. It had pictures of tumblers, and this was created and crafted specifically for pouring. So you're going to pour onto the tumblers and work with it. I like it. I've worked with it. But when you're deciding what epoxy you want to use, do your research, see what you like. I've gone through several different brands. I actually have a new brand that I'm going to be trying out that's supposed to be more healthy and more conscious for your body and the environment. But you want to make sure you know what the mixing ratio is. Most of the time it's a 1-to-1 ratio, equal parts. And then on the back it'll tell you how to, a lot of them should tell you how to mix it, what your work time is, 30 to 40 minutes for this. So that what that means is you have 30 to 40 minutes to get this onto your item before it starts to solidify. And then the demold time is 24 to 48 hours. So what that means is you want to give this at least 24 hours, 24 to 48. That's if you're pouring it into a mold, but I'm putting it on my cup and it's moving around and around. So I always just let it spin overnight, come downstairs, touch it if I can touch it. If it's cured enough for me to pull it off, I pull it off. If not, we let it go some more. But the demold time here is 24 to 48 hours. And that means that's how long you want to let it sit before you try to pull it out of the mold, depending on what you're setting though. Sometimes you don't need that long time. What I try to do when I'm working with tumblers and things, I have something else going on at the time. So I'll take and get all this stuff together, then I'll go and I'll move somewhere else, work with something else. All right, so I'm looking. Another must-have, tape. You're gonna need this tape because as you start to experiment with different glitters and different designs and patterns and stuff, this painter's tape is the best thing that I have seen to tape off my cups and my tumblers and things like that I'm working with. This, you can put it on, tape it down, and lift it up. It gives you a clean lift. This is painter's tape. Another thing you're going to need is something to measure with. Your measuring cups. These are when you do epoxy, it's measured in milliliters. You can use a scoop. You can use these medicine cups, which I actually love. When you're working with epoxy, remember, less is more, unless you're doing a pour or you're pouring epoxy into a mold. But if I'm doing a cup, I use these medicine cups right here. It just helps you to learn how much you need to mix and how much each cup size, depending on the size, will need. These are great. This is what I would start out with. I didn't know that. I bought big cups. I bought big stuff. So like this right here, this is a large one. I would use this if I was doing something like pouring into a large mold. And let me show you. I know I keep saying mold, but I'll show you what I'm talking about when I say a large mold. Let me grab it. It's in here somewhere. I was just working with it. Well, I wasn't working with it, I was cleaning. So today was a day for cleaning, and that's what I did. And I don't see my mold. All right, let's put this back. I just had that mold. I wonder if the dog got a hold to it, which is possible. All right, so I don't see it. I have some smaller molds, but this isn't what I was talking about or what I wanted to show you. But this is a mold. So the one that I have that I was trying to get is, it's about that long. It's like really big, and sometimes the molds are deep. So that's what I'm talking about. Or when they say molding here to cure. All right, so another thing that you will need is glitter. It's not a nice to have item, when it's not one of those get if you can. Glitter you're gonna need. The reason I'm telling you or advising you that you're gonna need glitter is because a lot of the cups that we buy, when you start working with them, sometimes you can see that you can feel the imperfections. So glitter helps you to give that extra layer onto the cup. For instance, this cup was glittered, and when I run my hand down it, I can feel the imperfections in the cup. But because I glittered it, it helps to smooth it out. It helps to even it out. And to the eye, somebody's gonna buy this. Oh my God, this is so nice. And when they're drinking, you know, you're not massaging the cup up and down. You're just drinking out of it. Your hand is fitting the cup. Now, the cup, if you just decide to do a tumbler that's white, it's a lot of opportunity for error, to show your imperfections and so on and so forth. So glitter is a must for me. It's a must have for me. So a lot of people, they'll spray paint their cup white and they'll start from that. I do that too, unless it's something specific that I want to work with, or a specific color that I want, and then I'll paint it. For instance, this one here, the person wanted purple, so I spray painted it purple. So yeah. Now, another thing you're going to need is some paint brushes. Your paint brushes, you're going to use these for epoxy. Not epoxy, I'm sorry. You're going to use this for Mod Podge. So there's several methods that you're going to use to get your glitter onto your cups. You're going to use Mod Podge method, which is Mod Podge onto the cup, putting your glitter there. In my videos, I do these methods. The methods that I'm talking about, I do show you how to do them. But you're going to need paint brushes. When you're working with these and you're working with Mod Podge, after you're done, make sure you rinse and clean it. These things are expensive. And this little brush here, $5.99. I don't know how much I paid for this. I got it at Lowe's. It was expensive because it has a flexible brush, soft grip handle. So I paid for that. So you want to make sure you're cleaning your items. So I use Dawn dish soap, and this isn't a plug for them. It's just what I found to work. This brand of Mod Podge, they have several different brands. This is a dishwasher safe. I typically buy what I see. I grab what I see. I don't have a specific brand of Mod Podge that I am just in love with or in awe with. You're also gonna need some weeding tools. And if you're a crafter, you know, you're gonna weed. This is for when you're putting your designs on. You're gonna need this here thing. can't think of it, but you're gonna need this craft knife, because if you're molding, you're working with molds and things like that, you're gonna clean it up. And also when you're working with cups, I use it to clean any Mod Podge or whatever's on the inside of the cup. I use that to clean that out. Now, when you are working with your sanding block, like I said, you want to clean that with the Dawn dish soap. But what I like to do is I'll take a brush, a makeup brush, and I'll brush the excess off. Just brush it down and get all the excess off. Then I'll take it over and I'll wash it. If I'm working with glitter, I'll do the same thing. After it's set, I'll take a makeup brush and wipe down the excess glitter from whatever project I'm working with. Trying to look in here and see if it's anything. These are just all makeup brushes, and I do use a lot of these, and these came from the Dollar Tree. This I paid $2 for. It's a silicone brush. Let's see what else is in here. Yep, another silicone brush, paint brushes. Oh, also these are like stainless steel. It's a nice to have, but when you're working with things such as mica powder, you can use these. Just dip it in there and put it into your not Mod Podge, put it into your epoxy, and that helps to cut down on you using too much. A little goes a long way, and these little things are priceless. It's a nice to have item though. You don't have to have it, but it's a nice to have. Oh, the other thing in here is scissors, and you guys know that whenever you're crafting, you're gonna need some scissors for whatever. Cut out your items, your images, and so on and so forth. Let's see, the winding down here, running out of space, but I'm winding down. The other thing you're going to need is your designs, your decorations, whatever you want to decorate your cups with. I use stickers. I just use a bunch of different types of stickers. I'll use printable sticker paper, not sticker paper, this is printable vinyl. Also, and like here's some stickers I'm going to use. Also, if you're purchasing sticker paper, you want to make sure that it is waterproof, because the epoxy is wet. So if you don't get a waterproof sticker paper, then your image that you worked so hard to print out and cut on your machine it's gonna run. So that we don't want to have that happen. So, you know, if you just go ahead and get you some printable, some waterproof sticker paper. I like to get mine from onlinelabels.com. It's a super inexpensive place to order labels. You can do sheet labels and print them out yourself, or you can order, if you know the dimension of the labels you want, you can order that. And you know, they're really quick and it's easy to order from them. Another thing that you will need, this is a must-have. This is a heat gun. So if you are mixing your epoxy and you have a lot of bubbles, you can use this to pop the bubbles inside of the little cup, or you can use it to pop bubbles as your cup is turning on its spinner. The only epoxy I will not use this on is the quick coat epoxy or fast set epoxy, because it's already designed to heat up really quickly, and that heat is going to pop the bubbles as well. So this is a must-have item, but like I said, read your epoxy, read the label, read the instructions, because they'll tell you it's valuable information. That's the only thing I can say. That's the only way I can say it. Another thing this is a, get it if you can. This is a glitter vacuum. And if you're working with glitter, it sucks it up. It's just a little vacuum. It's so cute. It has the little brushes here. You can brush it and I can feel it sucking it up. It runs off of 2 AA batteries. So I purchased this from a local craft shop in the area, and I saw it and I asked the lady, I was like, does this work? She said, oh yeah. So I bought it. This is a get it if you can item. If you're gonna work with a lot of glitter, you know, maybe your first couple sales will allow you to purchase that. All right, the next thing that is a get it if you can type item is this is a coffee warmer. So in the winter months, depending on where you live, sometimes your stuff gets cold, your epoxy gets cold. So what I've done with this is I've just plugged it up, let it warm up, and once I mix my epoxy, put it on there, and then it'll push the bubbles up to the front, and it helps to pop the bubbles. This is a get it if you can type thing. The other thing that I have is the, if you watched my video yesterday, you saw me working with this epoxy mixer. It's a get it if you can, but now that I've used it, to me, it's a must-have. This was gifted to me. My husband purchased it from Hobby Lobby. This is the mixer. It came with 3 parts. One was this. The other was a silver mixer that I don't see, but you just stick it in here. After you measure it out, mix it, put it in there, let it run for whatever the time is that your epoxy calls for, and that's it. When I tell you the bubble is almost non-existent, it is worth the money. If you can get this, my recommendation is getting it. Let's see, the other things that I have on here are just syringes. You can use syringes if you're working on trying to fill up little molds or whatever, because you have extra epoxy, you can use that. Or if you're wanting to paint, you want to add paint to your cup, you can suck it up through here and just put it on as the epoxy is, as the cup is turning, and then it'll make this funky weird design for you. The other thing I have is a little dropper. So this I use when I'm using oh shoot, where is it? When I'm using the paints. When I'm using the alcohol ink, it's not even paint, y'all. When I'm using the alcohol ink, so you can squirt it here, but to me, I can control it more if I suck it up out of here and then just drop it as the tumbler is spinning, and just drop it, and then the alcohol ink, it just does its thing and mixes with the epoxy, and you have like a unique design. That is all I have. Oh no, that's not all I have. I have these. These are little, this is crafting tape. You can use crafting tape, you can use nail tape. And what you do with this is you use it to outline your tumblers, or you can use it if you tape off and you want to fill the space in. This is what people are using. Some people will use it on their machine as well, or they'll make it on their Cricut. They'll cut their vinyl to whatever the width or the dimensions are. But that, I just wanted to share that with you. Oh, you also need a spray bottle. This is my alcohol bottle, and this is what I use to spray my alcohol when I need to use it, and that just makes it easier. It stops me from having to grab it and spray it off and wipe it down. You know, it's take the top off the alcohol, pour. That is a lifesaver. So to me, that's a must-have. Another thing that you guys is a must-have is your lighting. Your lighting has to be bright enough to where when you're putting your epoxy on your tumblers, you can actually see the movement of the epoxy. You can actually see if you need to add epoxy to another spot or other places. The lighting is key. It's a must-have. It's not even a go get it if you can. Your lighting has to be on point. I have the auto lights that I use in here, and it's worth its weight in gold. I also have a ring light that I use to help me to see, you know, things. The other thing that you're going to need that's a must-have is a cup turner. Now, I have not found the cup turner that I'm just going to die for. I'm using right now the spin it turners that you can get at Michael's. I purchased turners from Etsy, and that wasn't it. They weren't manufactured correctly or properly. I only have one turner that I purchased from Etsy that's still working, and then for the spin it turners, I have had to replace at least 3 of them. So I like them, but I'm not pleased with the workmanship, because if you have them for a good amount of time and you turn them or you use them, the pins start to come out, and once the pin falls out, I can go and buy another piece. They sell these pieces separately, so I can go and replenish those, but these are like 50-60 bucks a pop. And if I'm gonna have to replace parts, make it better, you know. Help me say, oh, get the rear memory keeper spinner. It's Turner. It's the bomb. But right now I can't tell you that. So what I will say is, when you're looking for a cup turner, do your research. But I did, even with the ones I purchased off Etsy, the reviews were amazing. They were phenomenal. I don't know if I got a bad batch of wood or what, but I ended up honestly, they're still in my garage, just sitting there. I know not what to do with them. Some other things that you'll need, it's not a must-have, but you see the tumbler arms where you can insert the tumbler into the you can attach the tumbler to the arm, and you can hold it out and you can spray paint it. Those are nice to have as well. It's not a must-have. It's get it if you can. Or you can go to Lowe's, get you some PVC pipe, have them cut it, and then get you some noodles, pool noodles, size them to your cup and make it yourself. You want to, you will need to adhere the noodle to the PVC pipe with some type of glue, Gorilla Glue or something like that. So you'll need to do that. So that's a nice to have. It's not a necessary one. I have some, and I'll use them sometimes. Sometimes I will, sometimes I won't. I prefer my Dollar Tree paper towel holders, and I walk around the table and spray it so I can aim it the way I need to. Trying to think if there's anything else. I don't think I've left anything out. If you can think of something that I left out, or that you're curious about as to what you need to get started with tumblers, epoxy, making tumblers, hit me up and put the comments in below. I do my best to read all my comments. I try my best to respond to you guys. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else. I'm sure I missed something, but right now I think that's it. Let me look and see what's in here. Oh yeah, I think we're good. So I hope that I have inspired you. I hope that the information that I provided you with tonight is helpful, and it will help you to decide if you want to take the journey to becoming an awesome tumbler designer, which I know you guys can totally rock it out. All right, guys. Good night. Happy crafting.